is the single most harmful force against women in recorded history, but you wouldn't know it from talking to the women themselves because the short-term benefits of feminism have become sedating the masses of women, while the long-term effects will render them completely useless, damaged, and unstable as a demographic woman. May use their influence in democratic countries to mitigate some of the damage, but the long-term effects will render the masses of women completely useless, damaged, and unstable as a demographic. As a result, a portion of men have been liberated from their traditional gender roles and are unable to be governed by any female government or institution. This group of men cannot be controlled by any woman entering the workforce. The bachelors are the men who benefit the most from this economic liberation. An enlightened man can have today's women entertain him and pay for themselves however. It was not as bad as it was in other economically trying times in history when the man was the only breadwinner, something that would have been unheard of in earlier times. A person who is familiar with the system can take advantage of it, and these men flourish in their own ways even now. With the sexual liberation, bachelors were often treated with suspicion and caution, so it is still fortunate for him to be a part of this economic liberation, the process of removing social stigmas and chain tactics for women's sexual behavior enabled crafty men to take advantage of newly liberated women. Today a man can provide exactly as much for himself as he desires without having to make any commitments that he does not want to make. You can do things too. As a result of the removal of restraints placed on women, the sexual revolution is returned to its original form for the species, which is one of primal lust and animalistic urges. These men would have no reason to better themselves or challenge themselves other than the requirement to work for another man and bring a wage home for their wives. As a result of the men who challenge themselves to accomplish new heights and the men who understand its futility and prefer to travel their road. Both sorts of men are liberated from the dull routine of nuclear families and white picket fences. Women are drawn to men who push themselves to new heights. Once a man has understood the rules that his society has imposed on him, he can turn any situation to his advantage and always can adapt to his environment. Many men desire the mundane routine of nuclear families and to maintain their white picket fences on weekends. However, because these men no longer have the option of following a conventionally prescribed way of life, they are compelled to forge their paths. These men are incapable of following orders from anyone because they are biologically programmed to provide protection and safety for others. As a result, they cannot. The third category is one in which they are either wallowing in their self-pity and admitting that they are not suited for this primitive way of life. Men can feel empowered by the degeneration that women have unleashed upon society, regardless of which category they fall into. When men become aware of the world around them, they are unable to return to living in the fantasy that previously governed their lives. They feel as though a burden has been placed on them. They feel. The men who lament the state of society and its irresponsible women have not found a cause that transcends. They should be able to take lessons from their experiences and move closer to awakening from their artificial slumber. The women they yearn for are evidence that these men do not want to change themselves, because they will be the first to engage in traditional courtship and marriage should society return to respecting reason and responsibility. Feminism has given light on the genuine character of women, which has been lost in traditional wisdom and has become degenerate due to its pervasiveness and inability to be contained. Women's downfall will never be forgotten, and no amount of censorship will make it so that men's hearts are no longer filled with pain, or that women who sold their souls for pleasure and prosperity are no longer alone in the world. This way of life can be seen as unsustainable by any sane and rational man, but that same man must also come to terms with the gravity of the problem and acknowledge that there are solutions available, but those solutions are not available.